Hello, everyone. This is Lenard Guzman here with Emily Robinson on the Modern Divorce Podcast. We're here March 28th, 2022. It's raining here in Los Angeles, which is rare, right, for this time of
Very
year.
rare. Rare for us, yes.
I,
Well, it
yeah,
is, I guess it is spring, but we don't get much rain ever. So it's all I love the rain. I'm excited.
yeah. It's like I think we get something like 300, at least 300 days of sunshine in Los Angeles, if not Los Angeles County. But yeah, this is like a rare day where we get rained in. I don't know if we could blame it on like climate change. Wolf kind of. I'm not a climatologist, but it is rare. It's a rare day today because it usually rains in February, all February historically.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is rare, but it's nice. We need it. And I feel like it always smells so fresh and cleans out you know, all the dirt and the bad things. So I'm happy. Also, it's probably snowing in the mountains for anyone who still wants to ski.
Oh, people probably tuning into this episode, they probably think this is like a like weather.com episode.
Probably.
So I know like
Probably.
I've read things where studies, I don't know if that's fair to say that like in heat, like in like New York City back I think in the 80s or 70s when there was just historically hot weather, there's a correlation between the murders and the crimes going up to the weather. Now, is there something like this in your world, the divorce world, where it's like if it's cold like this, do people? I know it's like, is it like baby making weather, and then like so? Is there a correlation to the weather, or it's completely not?
Oh, that's interesting. So nothing I've heard of, but they do say some people, um, their mood is really influenced by the weather. So if you have good sunny weather, you may be in a more positive mood. And if you have very rainy, cold weather, more negative, so maybe more likely to, you know, be unhappy and be negative in your divorce. Um, but I don't know of anything that's just related to divorce.
Okay, maybe we'll run into something probably. Like I think Google will cookie us in this conversation because somehow now my audio conversations get picked up and it just shows up on my like YouTube feed or something. So
I know it's
we'll find out.
creepy.
All right, speaking of creepy, let's get into the part of the show where we do source Google for trends and topics about divorce. A lot of celebrity news comes up. Sometimes there's mental, health issues and child custody issues. So let's get to the first one here from theguardian.com. So this article is saying I'm very happy with my wife or with my partner, but why won't he divorce his wife? He may feel ashamed, scared, or perhaps he's just lazy. Either way, you need to look at legal avenues that may open doors for him. So it's a pretty long read. So I'm in a relationship with a man who is separated from his wife, but not divorced. He left her 5 years ago and says their marriage had been over long before that, but he decided to stay until his children left home. We're both in our 50s and his children are now young adults. I was divorced in my 40s and have no children. We live separately. We had a very happy relationship for years, but there has always been the elephant in the room of his marriage and the block it presents to planning our future together. He has made some moves towards a divorce, contacting a solicitor and gathering information about his finances. But as far as I know, has done nothing beyond that. So we skip over a little bit. I hate the prospect of losing what has been the best relationship of my life, but I can't play second fiddle to his wife legally if in no other way, definitely. So do I walk away?
Mm. Well, she says solicitor. That makes me think this isn't in California. as we call them attorneys here. But, it's a tough situation. Him pulling the trigger on the divorce is hard, but you don't want to be the other woman forever and, um, sitting there while he doesn't actually proceed with the divorce. So I think at some point, if it's going on too long, it's okay to say, like, all right, I'm done. Like, you either do the divorce or I'm out.
Now, so like legally, from a legal standpoint, they're still kind of tied together. Like if you don't divorce, right? Like to move on, mentally, or however you say it, there's two different sides. So they could kind of live like this, but you're in between. So
Right. And it's uncomfortable for a lot of people because she's still technically his legal wife. And, they can be separated, but some people, are really uncomfortable that he still has a legal wife. Plus, if he has a legal wife, then you can't move forward if you want to get married. And he can't cover you on health insurance. He has to cover his former wife. So there's a lot of, things that could like practically be an issue too.
okay. That makes sense. Okay, let's go to our next article here from psychologytoday.com. How parents in a great divorce can help their adult children. So ongoing conflict between parents hurts children of all ages. Couple notes here. Parental conflicts can cause adult children of great divorce to distance from their parents, and the parent-adult-child relationship may suffer. When parents are in conflict, adult children of great divorce can experience loyalty issues that may destabilize their sense of well-being. Parents being amicable during and after their divorce can benefit adult children, other family members, and themselves. So great divorce refers to couples age 50 and older who are splitting. In the U.S. and many other countries, the default divorce process is litigation, an adversarial process. It's a win-lose, yet like minor children, adult children may unanimously proclaim that their utmost wish is that their parents will amicably be amicable during and after their divorce. So they want them to avoid conflict and be amicable. So this thing is a continuing topic we always touch on. And why is it structured in the court where it's like, they say it's adversarial, where it's a win-lose? Or is there like ways where, things can be negotiated? Because in a marriage with children, it affects, if you have, your clan, it affects a lot of people in your family.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, court can be a win-lose situation, but when it's divorce, it's not as much win-lose because you're dividing your property and splitting up your custody and things like that. It's not like a normal lawsuit against somebody where someone wins and someone loses. Like everyone loses in divorce. You're breaking up a family and you're splitting assets that one or both people worked very hard to earn, and dividing children that one or both people worked very hard to raise. That's not an easy thing ever. And there really is no win in divorce. It's all compromise and trying to find a way to, come up with a situation you can both live with. And in court, it does feel more like a win-lose because you can't come up with creative solutions on how to divide your stuff and how to, do custody arrangements. It's just you follow the formula of the court, which is, divide everything in the middle. So settlement's probably the best situation you can come up with to not have it be win-lose. But it really is always, it's never, you can't win in divorce.
Okay. Because what comes to mind is like, because my wife and I watched this. It was a Netflix show, like we call it Bingington, but it's like Bridgerton because it just came out. So there's a lot of things that are kind of were grandfathered a lot. It's like I don't know, like in the modern times, not that I could think of a solution where it would go smoothly because it seems like it's like whether it's like your iPhone or whether it's like you know like like social media posts, things are temporary now. Like in a way, where things aren't like I don't know if it's permanent. Like I was reading like Apple's like going to like subscription based model where you would kind of just pay for your like phone on a monthly basis. I don't know if marriages and divorce ultimately come to that, but it would be interesting, especially with you know things coming down the road. Like the world's changing so rapidly.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are like firms out there that do charge like a, subscription basis type of thing to do the family law work. I don't think it's really a big popular thing now. I'm not sure if it works that well because family law is so like your case could have almost no fees if you work things out, or your case could be really expensive if you fight over everything. So it's hard to know like what's the best way to do it.
Okay.
I think that's why most attorneys charge on an hourly basis so that you're really just paying for the hour. I mean, we charge retainers, but then you bill hourly. So you're really just paying for the hours you need.
Okay. We'll see what happens. To be continued, maybe. Let's see. So this next article is from papercitymag.com. This is about 5 key questions to ask your lawyer for an emotionally intelligent divorce. So it may feel like it, but no one dies from divorce. Few questions. What is the best divorce process for me? Where do I start regarding finances? Will my kids be okay after divorce? Will I be okay after divorce? How long will the divorce process take? So are these common? You probably hear these every day, all day. What would stand out like in these or do you probably have the same answers probably, or is it unique to different individuals?
Yeah, I mean, it's different for different people. I mean, a divorce takes a minimum 6 months from when the first person is served because that's the law in California. But it really depends on your situation. If it's really litigious and there's lots of fighting, your divorce can take years because you need to be able to get into court and get the court time. And the cost is much higher too. If you guys can work almost everything out outside of court and then just memorialize it in writing for court and file it with the court, and you never even have to step foot in a courthouse, then things will be much quicker. So the process always depends on the people involved, and their level of fighting.
Oh, so do people have to be like, if you're going through divorce, do they have to be in court? Like, because that seems between like the divorce, I guess, couple, that's painful, right? To go through it. And it's almost like it's semi-public. Is it necessary to have them in court? Or I know things happen in mediation where it's like, it's a private matter, right? Is that possible?
So, I mean, that's true. If it's private and you keep most of it outside of the court, then there's less that would be in the court file. But divorces are public record. So, like there the at least the base documents are going to be public. But the more you work out on your own, the less that gets filed in the public record. And, the more we can keep things private. Usually your final judgment and agreement is public, There are ways to file a very skeletal agreement and keep the actual like significant terms private, but there will be something in the public record. But the less you litigate, the less is in the public record.
Okay. Did not know that. Now I learned something today. Okay. So let's get into the part of the show where we ask Emily anything. We go through posts of people going through child support, alimony, if they're starting their divorce journey. So let's get to the first one here. This one has to do with alimony. Does paying alimony in perpetuity mean I won't be able to retire? So I got divorced last May 26th. 20 years of marriage. I will be 52 this year. MSA says the parties that shall pay to her $2,100, assume there's a month in maintenance, monthly effective 5/1/2021, and payable on the first of each month thereafter until the earlier of her death or remarriage. Is this customary? How will I do this after retirement? Does this make sense?
Well, that's a good question. So most alimony is modifiable. So if you do retire or your circumstances change or your, life changes or you lose your job or something, then you can modify it downward. You may still have to pay some if you still are the higher earner, even in retirement income, but it can certainly be modified. And then if enough time has passed, a lot of times the court will modify it to zero. It depends on your circumstances and your spouse's circumstances, but you're not stuck with the number that you have in the divorce papers forever.
Okay, here is a mental health one. So how do you grieve in a healthy way? I've noticed I want to do reckless things, like hook up with my ex-husband, and have been wanting to talk to people on dating apps, even though I know I'm not ready for a relationship. Feel lonely and confused and very angry with them. I want the pain to stop. How do I move forward?
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, I think those are all very normal feelings. I always recommend therapy. You gotta talk to somebody. You've got to find a healthy way to deal with your emotions, and to, have support for what you're going through, and also support groups. Support groups with other people that are going through the same thing as you are can be really helpful.
This one is life after divorce. So we're separated after 19 years together. He left me because he wasn't happy and didn't love me. Turns out he's not, even more unhappy and regrets his decision of leaving and not trying to work it out. It would be the simplest thing financially to let him back in my life for the kids' sake. It's because they miss their dad and he's not able to keep them apart. Keep them part-time at his small new place. I suffered so much when I left, and he left. I was devastated and took a lot to put myself together. Do I suck it up, or do I get over it and let this family be a family again? Any advice?
Well, that's also really tough. I mean, it's so hard because everybody's situation is different. And I think, there's no like one size fits all advice for that kind of thing. So again, I think you gotta go to therapy or coaching, figure out what's right for you and your family, figure out a path forward for yourself, because there's not one thing that works for everybody or that's the right answer. There's people who do horrible things to people and they forgive them, and other people who can't. And neither one is wrong. It's just what you need for you in your life to be a confident and strong person.
All right, the last post of the day, it's getting started. Divorce support group. I haven't filed yet, but I need to. I'm stuck in this weird place where I know I don't really want to go back, but have not been able to move forward. I could really use some support with the group, but haven't been able to find one. I even asked my therapist, and he seemed somewhat surprised that I was looking for one and wasn't aware of any. He's going to look for me, but in the meantime, I'm trying to find something on my own. A quick Google search leads me to believe that support groups just aren't a thing anymore. Is this true? Do people not need each other anymore? Has anyone found a group that would be useful?
Well, that's interesting because that's what we were talking about was having support groups. And I'm sure there are some that are useful. I think you just have to look and find one that's a right fit for you, just like with therapists. I have tried acupuncture for stress, and I had to go to like 3 acupuncturists before I found one that worked for me. So sometimes it's just some trial and error. And but yes, I have heard from many people that support groups are very helpful. And you can also, contact your attorney or an attorney because we always have referrals to support groups in your area that we've seen success with.
Yeah, God, groups. I I'll have to think. Like, what groups would I go into? Anyway, so that's all the time we have for today. We will see you in April on the Modern Divorce Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.